Coach Vance, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Hope you're safe during these times, man.
Thanks. You too.
Listen, crazy times, but I'm just kind of hoping you give me a little rundown about the URI baseball program. I know you, for example, Coach Serrato speaks highly. You have a background that's pretty positive background. UConn grad, played for the great Coach Penders, drafted by the White Sox in the 19th round. Then I believe you went with the Diamondbacks, made it up to AAA, and even represented Team Philippines in the World Baseball Classic, which must have been an awesome experience.
Yep. A lot of cool different places that I've been playing. But that Philippines team was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's got to be great. That's got to be great. Well, listen, awesome resume. Obviously, you've been doing great things over at URI. How long have you been there now?
This is my fourth year, so going into my fifth now.
Wow.
Next fall will be my fifth.
Awesome. So you must be enjoying it.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great place. I think an underrated place in the country, Rhode Island, and as you know, being a Rhode Island native, and it's an awesome place to be. Good program, and I think something that we can build pretty quickly, and more than it already has been built. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm all in. I love Rhody, and
absolutely,
it's a great place.
Well, like I said, I came. I mean, we've talked about this before. I come from Florida. Came up here to Little Rhody and played some college ball, and my mind was blown away with some of the talent that I had no idea came from Rhode Island, and some of the talents that they produce. And I mean, just this year alone, I was watching you guys closely, and you kick off the season, you have a great start. Unfortunately, it was cut short, but understandably so. But I mean, you beat teams like Maryland, you beat Central Michigan twice. At the time, they were 27th in the country. You knocked off University of Arizona, who was 25th in the country. You guys were on a hot streak, and unfortunately, like I said, it came to an end. But obviously, the program's on the map. Tell me about it.
Yeah, those wins are awesome. I mean, we do that, I think, every year. We have that schedule at least. We're playing the best teams that we can. I think it was up until last year we had beaten a team in the top 10 for like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Wow.
And having those teams on our schedule, we do it for a reason. We want to, we're going to get better whether we win or lose. We expect to win those games. But, we could play a bad schedule early on and go 15-0 to start the year if we wanted to, but that's not going to get us better, and it's not going to prepare us for regionals and super regionals in Omaha, because that's where we want to go. And just being in those environments, I think, is really important. Playing Texas A&M open weekend, we did that a couple years ago, just having 8,000, 10,000 people in the stands yelling at you. It's fun, really fun, great competition, and you're going to get better. And our goal in those is to win the series. It's not just to go and, for the experience, it's to get those big wins that we got this year, 3 ranked wins, I think. Well, important.
100%. And what I like a lot too, and you just nailed it right on the head, which is you go to win the series. It's nice, you do see a lot of northern teams, obviously, where we are geographically, trying to avoid snow, trying to avoid cold weather games, get down south early, get out west early. And, they're all pumped if they can get that one win against a big major team. But like I said, I mean, Central Michigan, you beat twice. Mm-hmm. Arizona, 2 close games. It's not like you're just winning one of those games and getting completely blown out. You're competing each game. If I go through each score, I think there might have been one in which it was favored one way, but the others were completely in the ballpark of pulling out a win any moment. Which that to me tells you, what you guys are doing must be right. Because if you have guys, like I said, playing at that caliber against those types of teams and playing them that well each game, you guys are on the right track here. So obviously you're the pitching coach. I'll let you speak to your strengths here and tell me about the whole pitching philosophy you have at URI.
All right. So our philosophy, I guess, in a way, is almost we don't have one. In a sense that we don't want to, make everyone the same. We don't want to turn everyone into the same guy. We want to strengthen who you are and make you the best version of yourself. And that comes from my experience playing, where having a lot of different coaches, and some of them, they want to turn you into Mark Pryor. That's just a random name that I'm thinking of.
That's our generation.
Yeah. when you're not that guy, I'm like 6 foot on a good day with cleats.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pitch the same as a 6'5", horse.
Absolutely.
So kind of comes from personal experience, just, trying to be turned into something I'm not, in a way. So that kind of stuck with me. And when I got into coaching, I want to do my best to not turn everyone into me. And, so we take it really individualized. We do things, I think, a little differently from other programs. We actually have 2 pitching coaches, me and Coach Fisher, which is really nice.
Also, yeah. Did you guys play together at UConn, or did you just miss each other?
We were the same class.
Same class. There you go.
Yep. So we're really tight. We've known each other since, we were young freshmen, 18 years old. And so we work together, and, we have a good mix of, I think, old school and new school stuff. We both have, combined, I think it's 12 years of pro pitching experience in 4 different organizations. So we pull a lot of stuff from that. White Sox stuff, Diamondback stuff. Fish was with the Nationals and the Twins. So we have all of that, our experience to pull from. But at the same time, we don't want to just keyhole ourselves into being that coach that it's like, oh, I did this in AA. We're trying to stay up to date. And, so we're doing stuff like On Base U, which is like a movement screen. We have Rhapsody, so we're doing spin rate, spin direction, movement profile, stuff like that. And, some weighted ball stuff. But the thing that we pride ourselves in is we use all of the new stuff, but we use it at different levels for each guy, depending on, who's ready for it, who's going to benefit from it, who's going to get hurt from it if they're doing a max effort pull down with a 40-pound ball. So we take it on a case-by-case basis. We start with our assessment screen, a movement screen for each guy, figure out,
awesome,
whose body works in what way. And that makes me a better coach, understanding how they move. So starting with that, we want to figure out what you can and cannot do physically. I can't.
Well, I like that too, because again, the game has changed, whether people want to admit it or not. Ultimately, it's played on a baseball field, and it's the same amount of positions, but the philosophies, people are adapting now, and it's turning into what you brought up. And you tend to see these arguments on social media, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're new school or you're old school. Yeah. And I think that us playing and what would be considered an older school generation in terms of the coaching philosophies and the technology not being there quite yet, I think there is or there should be a well-balanced philosophy using those 2 types of terms. So it's great to hear that, you're using the technology sequence like Rapsodo, you're doing screening, which is awesome because like you said, not every person is the same, and you don't want to push somebody one way. You don't want them doing a pull down if their body isn't ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's nice to hear that the old school method still exists a little bit.
Yeah, I think I like to call it the sweet spot.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a pun, especially with baseball, but it's true. Like, sometimes just being ultra confident and almost irrationally confident and hey, throw the ball as hard as you can at the glove, that works better than breaking it down mechanically. It actually probably works more. But you need to have that understanding of the technology. I guess you don't really need it, but it helps a lot.
Absolutely.
So
totally agree. Well, beautiful. Talking about your philosophy with pitching. No philosophy. It is individualized, which I love. Everybody's different. It is so true. In some cases, you'll get a couple kids that, remind them of each other. But I'm assuming when you're looking at bringing a recruit or a prospective student in to the URI team or family, you're looking for specific traits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, everyone's different, but we do look for certain things. There are certain things that are not good if I mean, you got to be talented. But certain things that we look for, I think, we're looking for kids that are athletic, not necessarily having crazy tools. I think it's more of an athletic. Do they move athletically? Because I think in my mind that will make them more coachable, or more easy to. It's easier to make adjustments when you're just athletic. You move the right way. I think there's a big focus on like velocity in general for most people, but that's not the end all be all. That is important. We don't have anyone throwing 75 on our team.
Right.
But there's guys that I look at when we're recruiting that are throwing 75 even sometimes, and that kid moves really well. Like he might throw harder in the future. So in terms of what we're looking for from a physical standpoint, it's who's going to help us win games is kind of a really simple way to put it. And that's not necessarily throwing 90, or hitting 88 when they're in high school. It's more of, I could see this kid throwing 90 or 90 plus when he gets here, when he puts on some weight. And the other thing is we're probably not going to get a kid that's throwing 92 in high school anyways. So I think we do a good job of identifying those guys that are going to be projectable based on, just how they're moving and how athletic they are. So
no, you're 100% correct. We tell our guys all the time, like, athletes, being an athlete is a good thing. You have to be somewhat athletic to be able to do what your guys are doing in your program, especially going up against some of the freak athletes that you do see out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great to hear. What about character-wise?
Yeah, that's probably more important, or just as important. We always say it's kind of from the movie Miracle, but we're not looking for the best players. We're looking for the right ones.
Great movie, by the way.
One of the best movies.
Yeah.
So once you find those kids that have, a certain level of talent that you need to play at this level, we're looking for the kids that want to work really hard. Sounds pretty simple and cliche, but we look for things like really little things. I've seen there's been one story that we always tell. There's this kid we were looking at, undersized player, and really good. Every time I saw him, he was getting multiple hits in the game, diving,
Mhm.
playing really hard, awesome in the dugout, interacting with his teammates. You could just tell he loved baseball. And that's really important. You have to really love it, and have a drive and a want to play at the next level, not just be satisfied with playing D1.
Right.
That's something that I'll kind of I'm giving out some good advice if I ever talk to any recruits if they watch.
Oh yeah.
But, I'll ask, what are your goals in baseball? And if most kids, if they don't say I want to play in the major leagues, then it's like kind of a red flag.
It's true. It's true.
Because that should be everyone's goal. And if they don't have that, they're just satisfied with posting something on Twitter saying they committed D1.
Yeah.
We want guys
which is going around these days.
Yeah. So those kids, that they're going to come and come to work. And back to the story, that one kid, watched him play. He probably went 3 for 4 or something. And after the game, I stuck around just to basically watch him. And he's picking up the trash in the dugout. Just little things like that. I say that half jokingly, but it's true. I actually, I'll tell the coaches that, he stayed after and he was picking stuff up in the dugout. Just even if you knew I was watching him, it's just little things like that go a long way. So
yeah, it's all character traits. It hones in on their personality. When I was at URI for a short time, the head coach, Coach Foster, one of my favorite guys that's really close with your program, obviously. It was does the player hold the door for their mother? Mm-hmm. Walk into a building. So it's good to hear that you guys look at that aspect of things, because again, we tell our guys, we've mentioned it before, you have to be athletic to play at a D1 level. You have to be an athlete. You have to be able to move a certain way, and you do find guys that can do that, but they're missing that key component, which is being a team player, being coachable, everything that you just touched on, which is great stuff for them to understand.
Yeah,
beautiful. Well, listen, I'll just ask the question right now. Obviously, you said you're going on your 5th year at URI. Things have been pretty steady. All of a sudden, COVID-19 hits. How is this impacting, not only you, but the players in general in terms of recruitment or training, practicing? How's that working?
Yeah, right now we're kind of in a little bit of a standstill, obviously. We'll have team Zoom meetings, which end up being pretty fun. It's the whole team, everyone in their living room on a video. But other than that, we're not allowed to do anything in terms of coaching right now. So the guys fortunately, we've kind of put it into them. They know their routines and what they need to do to kind of stay ready. And everyone's in a different scenario. Right now it's, do what you can with what you got and try and stay ready for summer ball. Plan like summer ball is going to happen, which is up in the air right now. But we do a lot of time, or we spend a lot of time teaching them, what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think they really have bought into that. And so I trust that they're, on the routines, and, some guys have a net in their garage and they're making it work. Doing body weight exercises, if that's all they have, to stay in shape.
Makes them thankful for that nice hitting barn you guys have.
Yeah.
when they get back on campus, they won't regret it now.
Exactly. And then in terms of the recruiting, aspect too. That's all kind of up in the air too. I
Yeah.
think for everybody, you know, guys are getting another year.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, I don't think it's going to really change much. You know, all of our commitments are, being honored. We're not
Beautiful.
pulling scholarships or anything like that. I think
Awesome.
we haven't really over recruited or anything like that. Our guys are our guys, and it's not going to change much for us.
And that's what I'm noticing. Colleges that, like you said, I think so fondly of not only you but Coach Serrato, Coach O'Brien, and Coach Dave, because you guys know what you need and you go after what you need. It isn't a overpopulated system where some schools are finding themselves in trouble at this point. So that's great to hear. That's awesome. I like the fact that you guys are still, well, not now because of the cancellation, but the way you were handling the process of your own players during this time, and you're honoring the commitments. That's a good thing. I know, coaches aren't allowed to leave or have anything on campus right now. Hopefully that'll be lifted soon.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of get back to a normal lifestyle with travel baseball and the recruitment life. Two more things I want to touch on. If you don't mind, give me the life of a URI baseball player, starting with maybe the balance of their schedule between classes and then what you all do for training purposes.
Okay. Yeah, in the fall, you got to be really organized. Basically, a normal day would be all of our guys have class. We try and be done with class by 2. So 8 a.m. to 2. It can vary depending on the day and depending on the major and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But we try and have everyone done, by 2:00, so we can have team lift at 2 if we have a lift that day, and then we'll have practice after that for a couple hours, and then after that at study hall. Studying.
I was going to say, I mean, that's I think people forget, especially seniors making that transition into college. They're not used to having a study hall in high school, and all of a sudden you get into college. I know every college varies depending on their requirements are for freshmen coming in, but all of a sudden you hit study hall, and these kids don't realize how tough these days are and how much wear and tear there is, and it's an important thing.
Yeah, it's a big time commitment, and it's something. That's why, going back to saying, you got to love it. You have to love baseball, because there's so many things on your plate when you get here. So our main focus for the new guys when they come in is just getting them organized, because they don't have that structure of like periods in school. It's all
Right.
kind of random. So getting guys to where they need to be on time is half the battle. They have academic meetings, they have tutoring, a million different moving pieces. So if the faster we can get guys to know where they need to be, practices at 2, you can't be late.
Yep.
And then you have a tutor at 5:30 after practice. Can't be late to that. Getting guys there on time. And then from there, it's just effort. So the organization piece is really important. Use your phone to put your schedule in it. Put reminders in your phone. Sounds simple, but it's
not
actually
Snapchat.
Tough. Yeah, because they're on their phone. So I'm on my phone all the time too. So
absolutely. Today's technology.
Yeah, you got to use it.
Beautiful. Well, I'll finish up with this. Again, big fan of the URI baseball program. It's a little roady. It's like, the blue collar Rocky Balboa in the fight. Yep. And they somehow, some way, always find a way to compete, like we talked about earlier in the segment, beating these ranked teams, not only just beating them, but beating them multiple times or competing. And then ultimately, what you guys are doing seems to be working because, again, each year or every 2 years, I'm seeing guys get drafted. I go back a while back, but guys like Chris Hess, Jeff Roy, Sean Fernie, who I had the pleasure of playing with, was a free agent. How impactful is that for you guys? How much does that mean for you guys to see those guys move on to the pros, especially being from someone that's done it?
Yeah. That's what it's all about. I think, aside from the first thing, winning championships together, seeing guys move on is awesome. That's our goal from an individual standpoint, is to get guys to the next level. Get them drafted, go to the big leagues. That's my goal as a coach. I never made it myself, and that's part of why I'm coaching. Is I want to coach someone at URI and say, you made it to the big leagues. So I kind of feel like I made it myself.
Yeah, you're part of it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think what we have going now, it is working. Like you said, getting guys to that next level. We teach not just how to win in college, but we're teaching guys, this is what it's going to be like at the next level. You're not going to get away with this or that, which doesn't really change much in the college game too. But,
well, I think it helps too that they're hearing, for example, you and Coach Fisher, both working pitchers. You're both former minor league guys, and I think it goes a long way in terms of respect. Hearing what you have to say and understanding what you went through. So I think that is a big deal. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think just the culture itself too, it helps kind of produce those players. It's not necessarily just me saying, this is how it works in the minors. It's more of just creating the culture and the routine that allows guys to develop to their highest potential. And that's the key, is getting the most out of who you are. And whether that's, a first round pick or a free agent or, a really good college player, we want to get guys to their ceiling or as high as close to their ceiling as we can. And, and that produces draft picks because, we're bringing in talented kids. So I think that's what it comes down to more, is just the culture that we have, and, the coaching staff, just pushing guys pushing each other. Coach Serrato, he's awesome. The guys love him.
Absolutely.
And, they're excited to come to the field every day and work. We have fun, but we're working hard, and that's what gets you drafted is coming to the field every day, ready to go, ready to listen, ready to work, and, getting better every day. So, and going back to what you said with, the underdog mentality too, I think that makes guys work harder. I take so much pride in that, being Rhode Island, the smallest state in the country. I think that is the coolest thing. When we, beat Arizona, or, in the regional, beating South Carolina.
Yeah. Yep.
Like stuff like that. It's cool to, there's a lot of people in Rhode Island, but it is a small state.
I was just about to say, when you guys do those things, and I'm sure you're aware of it, but it's the state is behind you all, which is a really cool thing to say. It's when you hear URI knocks off Arizona or knocks off South Carolina, or is on a 5-game win streak and heating up going into the conference tournament. It's cool because, again, it's low roadie. It's not the most populated place in the world, but they all come together, and it's a really cool culture feeling. Just being in the state when those things are happening, it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So proud people in Rhode Island, and
absolutely
love it. And it's good to have them behind us.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, listen, make sure you tell Coach Serrato I said hello. Same thing with the rest of the coaches. Like I said, I'm glad you touched on it. I was going to finish up with it and conclude with it, but excellent job as a head coach. Serrato has been there for quite a few years now, been A10 coach of the year, and has done wonderful things, and obviously put together a great staff. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time with me today. And hopefully we'll be seeing each other soon outside of a Zoom call. But until then, stay safe, coach, and tell everybody to say hello, please.
You too. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Anytime, man. You have a good one.
You too.